Hello, my friends. This is Jeff Yalden. How are you? Good. Glad to hear it. So good to be back with you. I have a new message. I just got back from the gym. I've been working out. I'm all excited. I'm fired up. But I was thinking about character and integrity. And in thinking about character and integrity, I had to come home. I had to whip out this video real quick because it reminded me of something that happened when I was in the Marine Corps. Many of you know I'm a Gulf War veteran. I served 4 honorable years in the United States Marine Corps. Semper Fi to all my fellow Marines out there. So one of the things that I've always wanted to do is be a Marine Corps drill instructor. I've always wanted to wear that little smoky and be at Paris Island, South Carolina. I've always wanted to be a drill instructor. Well, I remember it was April of 1994. I'm about weeks away from going to Paris Island to go to drill instructor school to be a Marine Corps drill instructor, and then something happened to change the course of my life forever. I was due to stand Sergeant of the Guard just a couple weekends before I was due to get out. And my job was 24 hours. I would post Marines. I would take them off. 4 hours later, I'd post another set of Marines. And the Marines had 4 hours on their post and 8 hours off. And I was the one that would relieve Marines and post Marines. So let's really make this short. Sunday morning, I was due to be relieved by Sergeant Rushing. So come Saturday at 9 a.m., I show up. I do my job. 24 hours. I hang out, post Marines. Sunday morning, 9 a.m., Sergeant Rushing is due to relieve me. But the dude never showed up. What would you do? I mean, think about it. We didn't have cell phones back then. I didn't know his phone number. I couldn't just call him. I couldn't email him. I couldn't text him. I couldn't Facebook him. How many of you would be like, yo, my time is up. I'm out of here? Or how many of you would stay until you were properly relieved from post? Now, obviously, many of you probably would, because you know in the military you don't leave your post until you're properly relieved. And let me also share something else with you. We're growing up in a time of uncertainty where there's no job security, there's no loyalty. So what you have to do, you got to make yourself so valuable to your employer that they could never get rid of you. You got to be willing to show up early. You got to be willing to stay late. You got to be willing to do little things that other people aren't willing to do. So I stayed on duty that morning, and I'll never forget, it was around 10 o'clock in the morning. The officer of the day comes by, and he says to me, hey, Corporal Yalden, where's Sergeant Rushing? Now, this is a pretty important turn of events. The officer of the day had just graduated from the Naval Academy and Officer Candidate School. He had been in the Marine Corps maybe 2 weeks, full-time. I had more time on the toilet than he had in the Marine Corps. I know that's way too much information for you, but I mean, the situation is simply this. I didn't know where Sergeant Rushing was. He didn't show up. The officer of the day comes by. It's Sunday morning. Everything is okay. I knew Sergeant Rushing. I knew his family. I knew his children. Did I need to get the officer of the day involved? I mean, the worst thing that could have happened is Sergeant Rushing could have lost money, which would have affected his family, could have lost rank. So do I tell the officer of the day he's not here? I don't know. Do I throw him under the bus like that? Or do you cover for your fellow Marine? And in covering for him, it means that I'm going to have to tell a white lie. You know, it's a small lie, but listen, it's Sunday. Everything is cool. The Marines are posted. Everything is fine. Do I really need to get into it? So I have a choice. I can cover for him, or I can just lie. What would you do? Well, let me tell you what I did. I covered for him. Yes, sir. You know, he came in, but he went to the chow hall to grab a bite to eat, but I'm just hanging out and covering for him. So I didn't exactly tell the truth. I lied. He said, all right, Corporal Yalden, you have him come see me when he gets in. Yes, sir, no problem. Cool. Got away with that one, huh? Sergeant Rushing never showed up. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the officer of the day comes by again. Hey, Corporal Yalden, where's Sergeant Rushing? What would you do now? Do I just come straight out? Listen, sir, I lied to you. I didn't know what was going on this morning. I didn't know whether to be truthful or not. I wanted to figure things out. The reality is he never showed up. I can cover for him still. I can throw him under the bus. Yo, man, he just never showed up. And let me tell you something I've learned. If you catch yourself in a lie because you didn't know what to do and you were scared, best thing to do is just come clean right then. As a parent, as a teacher, and a coach, I'll never be upset with you for being honest. What would you do here? I'm caught again in the position. What do I do? I covered for him again. I said, yes, sir, he came back, but he needed to go get a haircut. I'm just hanging out covering for him. Everything's cool. About midnight that night, Sergeant Rushing showed up pissed, drunk, had a girl with them. I didn't say anything. So the next morning, I go to my staff sergeant. I told staff sergeant exactly what happened. I said, staff sergeant, you think I can have next Friday off? I stood duty all weekend long. He said, yeah, let me get to you after the meeting this morning. So it's Monday morning. He had to go in the meeting with the first sergeant, with the gunny, with the officer of the day from the weekend, the XO and the CO, the chief warrant officer. They had to discuss what happened over the weekend. They had to talk about what they're doing for the week ahead. So the meeting is over, and he says, hey, listen, I'm going to give Corporal Yalden Friday off, have the weekend. And some of the people said, why? So, yeah, Corporal Yalden stood duty all weekend long. We had a little incident. And Corporal Yalden was on duty all weekend long. He didn't get a weekend. So the officer of the day says, wait a second. I was here all weekend. Corporal Yalden was here. Staff sergeant said, nah, you don't really know what's going on. So to make a long story short, the officer of the day found out that I lied to him and covered for one of my Marines. You remember that desire to go to the Marine Corps drill field to be a drill instructor? The officer of the day denied it. Now let me tell you something. I won 2-time Marine of the Year. I'm a Gulf War veteran. My proficiency and conduct scores were off the charts. I was a good Marine. My desire to re-enlist to make the Marine Corps a career, the officer today with 2 weeks experience denied me. I was honorably discharged on April 30th, 1994, a United States Marine. What's the moral of this story? The moral is simply this. Don't ever compromise your character for that of anybody else. Sergeant Rushing made a mistake. Sergeant Rushing chose not to show up. I chose to cover for him. I didn't know the whole story. But the bottom line is when it comes down to leadership, you hold people accountable. And if someone ever asks you to cover for them, and that goes against doing the right thing and it goes against your character, that ain't someone that you need to be surrounding yourself with. It ain't someone you need to have or call a friend. So the moral of the story is this. Don't ever compromise your character for that of anybody else. Be concerned with your character, not your reputation. And when it comes down to integrity and you do the right thing, people are going to respect you.